Hello and greetings, fellow Eorzeans and Warriors of Light. So the Fan Festival here in America is well and truly over for now, but we have a lot of exciting new information of what is going to be waiting for us in the future of Final Fantasy XIV. The biggest news, of course, was the unveiling of the new expansion of Shadowbringers 5.0. However, we do have some news regarding the next patch of 4.5, and we're going to be talking about that from the latest letter from the producer. Now, we're only going to be talking about what we learned of the features for 4.5. And while they did talk a lot about the Blue Mage job, which will be coming out with this patch, I decided to devote another video to the Blue Mage exclusively from the news we received. So here, we're only going to be talking about the other features besides Blue Mage, as well as a predictions video which will be coming later on. Warning, there are going to be major spoilers for 4.4, so if you haven't seen it yet, you might want to go and play it before watching this. You've been warned. Now, 4.5 is going to be the last patch for Stormblood, and various bits of the content it brings up will feed directly into Shadowbringers, which is going to be essential for fans who want to be up to speed before next summer. Moving on. As is tradition, we're going to be having the final patch in a Part 1 and a Part 2. It's going to be called A Requiem for Heroes. Now, already we can tell that some major stuff is going to happen here because Requiems are not known for being happy and cheerful. Now, while we don't have the exact date yet, Part 1 is going to be coming out sometime early in January, so we can make our own guesses there. And a Part 2 will be coming out a couple months later in late March. Like I said, the storyline here is essential because it's going to be opening up the way for us to go to Garlemald and officially closing the story of Stormblood behind us. Now, they did show us a couple of screenshots, such as we have Maxima talking with Alize and what looks to be Alamigo. I'm just guessing on that. I can't say what's going on or how Maxima even got there, but it seems that Alize is finally going to be getting some answers as to what happened to her brother and where he is right now, and maybe even a clue as to who the Shadow Hunter is. The second screenshot is of Solus, whom we see seems unusually happy about something, which can't be good for us. Something to do with the Black Rose, perhaps, or just thrilled at the thought of waging a war with us. Either way, we have been told that he will be one of the major villains in the upcoming expansion, so we know that whatever he's happy about can't be good for us. Now, other than the main scenario questline, we are going to be having a few other features, including new side story quests. This is also going to be the final part for the Four Lords series, and I'll talk about more of that in a second, but we're also going to be wrapping up the story of Hildebrand's adventures in the Far East. Funny enough, when they mentioned this, more people seemed more excited about Hildebrand than the Four Lords. Now, we were also given a few other screenshots of the Four Lords. This first one seems to be diving into another memory of the Four Lords and their past with Tenzin, perhaps of when Siryu first met his comrades and when he joined up with them. And the second one here is of Soroban talking turtle to turtle with Genbu, who is bathed in this light. I can't say that I'm happy about this because it makes me feel like something bad is about to happen to Genbu. I just have this nagging feeling. Also, like I said, we're going to be having the new Blue Mage job, which is one of the biggest things in this patch. And so we're going to be having some new job quests, and the Blue Mage will be exclusive content in the Masked Carnival. We're going to be learning more about that later on. And like I said, I will talk in more details about everything we learned about the Blue Mage in my next video. Hope you're looking forward to this. Now, as they have been doing so far in Stormblood, all of their odd number patches only have one new dungeon released with them, and this one's no exception. We are only going to be having the one new dungeon here, which is going to be part of the main scenario questline, and it is known as the Gimlet Dark. And while they don't have any screenshots for it yet, they did have some artwork to show us, so yeah, this looks pretty intense. And from everything that we saw from the Shadowbringers trailer, then perhaps that showdown with Xenos may be coming sooner than we originally thought. Moving on, we're going to be having the new Alliance raid, which is the continuing adventures of the Return to Ivalice storyline, the Arbonne Monastery. And for those of you who play Final Fantasy Tactics, you already know this, but for those of you who haven't, it was a mysterious library that held old tomes from the era of Saint Orja, where much of the game takes place. So if it's a library, we're going to be learning a lot of new information as well as finishing up the story there. Not only that, but they did show us a picture of some of the gear that we'll be able to earn from running through it. And it seems that the aiming gear is going to be none other than the leading man Balthier's outfit. Sadly, they did come right out and tell us that Balthier himself will not be appearing in this game. However, they did say that someone who should serve as an exciting tease of the future will be showing up, which is strongly hinted that it's going to be Fran, Balthier's partner, and it would be a good way to introduce the Vieira race that's going to be coming later on. While they haven't said that the Vieira will be the next race, I think it's all but confirmed. And I shall also point out that this is going to be the last of the Return to Ivalice storyline. We're going to be getting our answers here, and the dev team did promise that as soon as it's out, they are going to be working on the next Alliance raid, which we don't know any information yet, but I'm sure that it's going to be just as exciting. Also, we're going to be having some new mounts, including one from the new trial, which will be the final of the Four Lords, Siryu. Now, at first I thought that Siryu was going to be in the form of a dragon, but perhaps that's not entirely the case, at least judging from the name of the trial, the Wreath of Snakes. There is no screenshot for it yet, but they did have some beautiful artwork for it, where it looks like the element we're going to be up against this time is going to be water. Now, there's going to be both a normal and an extreme mode for it, as well as a dog mount from here, which will also be finishing up all the dog mounts for Stormblood. Once one acquires all these other dog mounts, including this new one, they're going to be able to receive the master mount for them, like how we got the Firebird and Kirkirin. And they even showed us a picture of what it's going to look like, and our mount is none other than the Nine-Tailed Fox. Don't worry though everyone, we still have plenty of time to earn those other dog mounts for those of us who are behind on our dog farming. They also gave us some information on Eureka, where we're going to be getting the final part of the story here as well. It's going to be called the Hydados Expedition, and if I had to guess, I'd say it's more likely that it's going to be coming out Part 2 sometime in March. Now, they did mention that this one was going to be more of a water and lightning theme, which, according to the name, it makes sense, but it's also going to be very different from the previous expeditions. They didn't go into too many details about it, but they did say that it's going to be extreme. It's going to be harder and a lot more intense than the previous patches, so I can guarantee that we are all going to be looking forward to many, many deaths. They also talked a little bit about some PvP content. It's going to be getting an update with a new Rival Wings update, adding a new map called the Hidden Gorge. There's also going to be a new form of content in the Gold Saucer that's going to be detailed in the next letter, along with a new gate, which is dubbed the Air Force One, in which you pilot a tiny Air Force mount, and you get to ride along a kind of roller coaster-like track while shooting at targets. There's going to be some new prizes as well. And last but not least, there's going to be a new customs delivery client. So we're going to be getting some more scripts, a new way to get higher gear and tools that we're going to need, which is going to be leading more into Shadowbringers, where our Disciples of Land and Hand are supposed to have a little bit more of the in-game content. They also mentioned the world visit systems, which is going to be added. Players are going to be able to move freely between the worlds on the same data center through the Aetherites in Limsa, Gridania, and Udal. Now, we did talk a little bit about this in my last video, so I'm not going to go into too many details. That being said, they did say that there are going to be some restrictions, such as retainers cannot be hired or summoned, you can't put items up for sale in the markets. Estate plots and apartments cannot be purchased, however, you still will be allowed to go inside houses, so you can go over and visit your friends. Most free company features are not going to be accessible, with the exception of chat, so you can still talk to your friends there. Link shells are not available, and cross-world link shells are unaffected. Eternal bonding ceremonies will not be scheduled or attended, won't be able to use the Moogle delivery service. Unspoiled and legendary gathering points will not be utilized. Tickets for the Jumbo Cacpot cannot be purchased. Lord of Vermilion and Triple Triad tournaments cannot be entered. Yeah, so it's, like I said, very limited. This was designed so that you can go to other worlds in your data center and apparently visit your friends only. Like help them out if they have problems and everything like that. They also did talk about a little bit of the new data center expansion. North America will be getting a new one called Crystal. and Europe will be getting one called Light. Also, the worlds will be distributed across data centers as followed here. So the worlds that you see here in these separate centers are the worlds that you will be allowed to go to. And in Europe, we will have these two. Now, they did say that they're providing relief to players who are affected by this new world redistribution. It's scheduled to be carried out over a 2-week period, and all characters from worlds that are within an affected data center may use the world transfer service free of charge. And to players who decide to transfer, you will be getting some added benefits. The maximum gil that may be retained by a player transferring to another world has been increased to almost 1 billion gil. Players who own estates will be reimbursed the full % of their original purchasing price of their plots, and these players will also receive an additional 3 million as compensation for any furnishings that were lost in the process. Players who own apartments will also be reimbursed for the original 500,000, and players will also receive an additional 500,000 as compensation for any furnishings that were lost. So that is a lot to be going over. We have a lot waiting for us in the future, and I know I can't wait for it. And I hope you're going to be looking forward to it as well. Hopefully I'll see you in the Duty Finder, and we'll be able to play through it together. We will be receiving more information about it in a later date, and I think that the next letter from the producer is going to be held next month in December. So hopefully we'll learn more then. So until then, I hope that you're all excited about it as much as I am. You're going to be looking forward to it, and you are running through Final Fantasy XIV and Lands of Eorzea and beyond. And hopefully we'll run into each other. So until then, bye!